Let me clear my throat. You started
That's
it.
right.
Danny, y'all don't know. Y'all don't even know about that. That's from our generation. That's when people used to actually go out and
Party
dance
anthem.
at
Yes,
nightclubs,
absolutely.
party anthem, and people used to not record you dancing. You just actually used to dance for people in the spot. You didn't
Wow.
dance
We sound like
for the
fossils
cameras.
because they don't do that anymore.
And I'll be a
Yes,
fossil, bro. I'll be
yes.
that. I'll be that. I remember when Poison had me dancing like a crazy person at a house
Oh
party in New
man,
York City.
that song, boy. I'm talking about sweating on the dance floor. You know what I mean?
What you know about sweating
Yeah,
on the
that's how
dance floor
much
for
you were
real? Like
dancing. Yeah,
really
yeah.
sweating. I was dancing. Sean, it's been an absolutely insane week for sport. Guys, we missed last week because of the Super Bowl. Super Bowl's like a national holiday here in
hmm
America.
Facts.
That doesn't mean that there hasn't been things going on since. I mean, we have the Olympics start. It's All-Star weekend. All-Star Saturday night was last night. Dame Lillard won the three-point contest. New Jack, who went undrafted, won the dunk contest. There's just so many things going on, Sean, in the world of sport right now.
Yes, there is. I mean, it's just a lot. We took a break last week, as you said, and just so much is happening, and I can't wait to get into it. I like the topics that you picked, by the way, sir. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I mean, there's so many. I just wanted to
Yeah, this
cherry
should
pick
be
a
fun.
few. Just by the way, this kid who won in men's speed skating for the 500 meter. You're gonna look after I'm done. This kid said he did 50 squats, then 50 box jumps, then rides his bike for 4 or 5 miles, and then he did his workouts.
Wow. Dedication.
Okay.
Mm.
And then I think his name is Stolz, I think. And then he said, and this is when I knew he was a G. This is what got me hyped last night before I went to bed. He said, yeah, and when I'm skating out there, I mean, I know I'm tired and I don't care if the blood's not getting to my head and I don't care if I pass out. The only thing keeping me on my skates is that the guy behind me is not going to beat me.
Can we say bar? Ladies and gentlemen, that is a bar.
It's
Jeez.
like, so NBC set that up. And then, you see him skate and boom, he breaks the Olympic record and wins the
Oh my
gold
God, that's
medal.
crazy.
And then they showed his quads right next to Saquon Barkley's quads. And they have the exact same
Man,
quads.
listen, the people don't understand different sports, doesn't matter. We see basketball, football, baseball, right? So we look at, oh, these guys are
Yeah.
tremendous athletes. But there's other genres of sports that we don't know about. And you look at these guys, are in incredible shape. So they're built just like he's built like a football player, which is great,
He's built like a
but he's
football
speeding
player,
on skates.
only 50 pounds lighter. Speeding on skates. My appreciation for men's speed skating is unheralded right now.
That's so funny.
I'm like, you're speeding on
Yeah.
skates, bro. Anyway, let's jump into today's topics. Today, we're going to talk about Cardi B and Stefon Diggs breaking up after the Super Bowl. We're going to jump right into Chris Paul's retirement. And then we're going to talk about fighting in the NBA, whether they should allow it or should people be forced to deal with these suspensions. Let's start from the top, Sean. Let's go with Cardi B and Stefon Diggs. I'll bring us right in. Right after the Super Bowl, or some say during the Super Bowl, Cardi B and Stefon Diggs went Splitsville, not following each other on Instagram. All the haters will say that they broke up right then and there. Others will say that they were going to break up prior to this. It's a big breakup. I want to know your initial take on this before we dive into the facts, Sean.
It's just crazy. To me, this is a cautionary tale for anyone out there. Famous people. Yes, a
Not a
cautionary
cautionary
tale.
tale.
For a lot of you famous people out there, listen, your relationship is your relationship. It's your business. So this is a cautionary tale of, you shouldn't be so public. I mean, this is just, you're just out there and you're dating and you're doing your thing, but you're in the spotlight. You're Cardi B. She's one of the most famous performers, entertainers out there. And then you got Stefon Diggs, phenomenal football player. So you put those two together in those two worlds, you got a lot going on. So for me, it's a shame because, I can't say that I've seen all of their internal business in terms of what they've gone through, but Obviously, there's some things that went wrong in that relationship for them to split. It's just what gets me is the timing of it. It's like, okay, nobody knows about it, and then these things happen what at the Super Bowl or right before or right after the Super Bowl. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like the timing of it is so crazy. Like we should be talking about how sad it was for him to lose, and how will this fuel him for next season. But we're talking about him
Right.
breaking up with Cardi B.
That's bigger news. I mean, let's be honest, the Super Bowl itself was pretty boring outside of the
This is true.
halftime show, which Cardi B was a
True.
part of.
True.
The rumor goes that he brought his new side piece to the Super Bowl while Cardi B was there. I mean, that's savage
That's
move, but okay. I love your concept of a cautionary tale because you're 100% right. Keeping your private life public is very dangerous when you're a
true.
celebrity. People are always going to weigh in and have their opinion on what you should or shouldn't be doing. But I'm going to add something to
Yes,
this, my
sir.
friend. Okay, I lived in LA for 15 years. You are from LA. And the one thing People Magazine likes to do in their little segment is celebrities are people too, right? As they show as they show Cameron Diaz at Whole Foods, which I've seen. And you're like, there are people too, which means that celebrities aren't free from the same errors that you and I make on an everyday basis in our private lives and private relationships. The difference being is that they're public facing. Now, I looked at some interesting
Okay.
stats here. Stefon Diggs, ball player. No one's ever going to say anything about his ability to catch and run with the
Phenomenal.
football. Stefon Diggs had 4 kids in 2025 by 4 different women. That's 1 kid every financial quarter. Okay. That means every time Microsoft reported earnings,
You got me coughing.
a kid was being born.
Wait a minute. Say that again for the people in
Right.
the back. That's a kid, one kid for every financial quarter. Did you actually? Did we go to economics on this? I mean, what are we talking about?
He's dropping a kid every quarter. Now that means that he may not have had one every 3 months. I'm saying that if you split it up through a year, and I'm like, Cardi, you had this information going into it. You being the 4th kid that year. It's like you didn't. This wasn't hidden from you. There's all these Instagram models and women that came before you that saw and had things to say about him prior to this. You got caught up in the lifestyle, get caught up in the limelight, caught up in the fast cash. I get it. All these women raw dogged and had something to say, about allowing him to get them pregnant. So I wanted to know, like, Cardi B has to take responsibility for her own choice to get pregnant by this man. Does she not?
Absolutely. But you said it perfectly in the beginning of this when you started going down this road. You know, celebrities are people too, right? So, and she's a regular person. And how many times have we heard women say, even though they've seen a man's past, or vice versa, a man sees a woman's past, and they go, you know what? I'm different. It's gonna be different with me. You know what I'm saying? I
You're
could
stupid.
I could change him. Seriously, and that's real. That a lot of that happens. Women and men, we go, oh, I'm different. That's not gonna happen with me. I knew what I was getting into, and I knew he was like that, but he's gonna change because I'm gonna be the end all be all. And so a lot of and I'm not saying Cardi B did that, but a lot of times women and men do that. They feel like I'm the last one. I know his or her past. It's bad. It sounds awful, but hey, I'm different.
What I'm saying is she had all of the data. Stefan Diggs is a very handsome cat. You know what I mean? When you have a handsome dude with the dough and the shine, it's a very hard thing to turn away from. I'm not a woman. I can imagine that those things are enticing. Your man's before you had 5 kids by it looks like 5 different women. He likes that game. He likes the shine. He likes that chase. That's cool. You don't have to be the 5th. You could have not had a kid with him and just had a breakup. You already went through this with
Yeah,
Offset, who is mercurial. I mean, Offset, I love his music.
right.
You know, I don't think he makes the best husband. I don't think that's crazy to say aloud.
But
Maybe a good
yeah,
dad, but husband is a little different thing. Just a side on here. I met Julia
hmm
Roberts You know who she
Who'd
married?
she marry? I have,
She married a
yeah, I have,
cameraman.
like I said, I have no clue who she's married to. So,
Yeah.
but,
She married like a cameraman, director type, like low key, kept it low key. I believe they're
yeah,
still married.
but that speaks to what we were saying earlier. That her. But see, outside of knowing who she married, do you know anything about her private life with this cameraman? See,
No.
there you go. And so, but getting back to my point, like I said, I don't know what the situation is, but that looks to me like that's what's happening. You had all the data, just like you said. I cannot argue that point. She had all the data. She knew
Yeah.
what she got herself into. Yeah, he's a handsome guy. He makes great money. He's well liked in the football community. He is, like I said, he's a phenomenal receiver. And you get caught up in that. And so you have the data, but you catch feelings, you fall for someone, and then you think, hey, maybe I'm gonna be the last one, and that's essentially what happens. I'm gonna be the last one, and
That's
I'm not
fair.
gonna be. It's not gonna be anymore. But guess what? That's not what happened, and it's unfortunate, you know. But that's the way it is, and it's like I said, so many times it happens outside of, just in regular. For guys like I've know guys and I know people who have gone through that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and they're just like I say regular people. But that's why I say you keep it private. I would keep all this stuff private. I don't, but that's me.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a long-term bet with you, Sean. I'm gonna bet you this is not his last child
You
with
know what?
someone
And I
else.
would not take that bet. I
Would
would
you
not
take
take
that
that
bet?
bet.
You're
Not at
not
all. Because, because listen, let's keep it a buck. You said it before earlier. He's charming, right? He's a good looking dude. He's gonna find a woman that's gonna be intoxicated with that. She's gonna know he's got 5 kids by 5 different women. Am I
Yeah.
correct? So
It looks like
yeah, so
that's correct,
five
yeah.
five kids, 5 different women. She's gonna get in there, and she's gonna be like, okay, I'm the last. I found love, and they'll have a kid.
So his baby's moms are Tyler Marie, Kennedy Moore, Eileen LaPera, Kay Benji, Cardi B, and some other girl. Kiana Barber? Yeah, I mean the women aren't ugly, I'll tell you that. Tell you that right now. Tell you right now. They're not now one of these women are
Yeah,
busted. I'll tell you that right now. So let's move on. Let's move on because I can
yeah,
stay here
that's
all
so
day.
funny.
This is so
But great
ridiculous.
opening topic, by
Because
the
his
way. That's
child support checks.
life lessons,
Yeah, his child support
right?
checks are nuts. Life lessons. Life lessons being
Yes,
taught
that's
here
right.
today on
Keep it
Beat the
keep your
Best
private life
Podcast.
private.
Okay. Keep your private life private. Try not to go raw dog that often. All right. End of an
Hilarious.
end of an era for Chris Paul. End of an era for Chris Paul. He retires unofficially with the team, although he was traded at the trade deadline. Chris Paul is going to retire as the point god following his official retirement announcement on February 13th. Chris Paul is going to retire with some fantastic stats, Sean. He's going to retire top 5, I believe second all time in assists, and part of the 20,000 and 10,000 assist club. I want to know your thoughts on Chris Paul hanging it up and calling it a career.
I It's unfortunate because he's one of the guys I wanted to see, get a championship because, if anybody who knows basketball knows that the point guard is the head of the snake, the most important piece on the floor. I don't care how good your complementary pieces. I don't care how good your guards are, your two guards, three small forwards, center. I don't care how dominant and how good they are. If you don't have a really good or great point guard to get them the ball, you're not going to do anything. And he was the epitome of great. And I hate that he didn't get
Yeah.
an opportunity. He got an opportunity to win a championship, but he ran into Giannis, 2021, I believe. And so that was a
Mm-hmm.
tough pill to swallow. But I hate that he didn't get another opportunity on his way out with a good team because there's so many teams in the NBA, and I think contenders that could use a guy like that, not only for the locker room and teaching the younger guys, okay, how to run the position,
100%.
but also just having him on the floor at the end of the game to make the right decision. I mean, even though he's older, you could give him 10 minutes at the end of a game or near the end of the game in the fourth quarter to kind of swing momentum to get the to get the game back in control. So I just hate that he didn't get that opportunity. But he fantastic player, phenomenal. I think he's second all time in steals as well, along with assists, I believe.
Yeah, he's in top five. I say
Yeah,
top five. I believe he is
yeah. So
second.
which is incredible.
Sean, it's so interesting you bring up these points because when you say certain things, it makes me think a little differently. Not that you're wrong
Sure.
at all, but it makes me realize how hard it is to win a
Yeah.
championship. Because if championships were based on just desserts, then lots of players that I like would have received
Right.
one that didn't. Reggie Miller would have got a
Sure.
championship. Rick Smits would have got a championship. Charles Barkley would have got a championship. Guys that I really enjoyed watching play. Chris Webber. But that's not the world we live in. The world we live in is, it's 50 parts work ethic, 25% the team you go to, 25% raw
Mm,
luck to win a championship.
absolutely.
And Chris Paul was not gifted with that luck. He's been to the mountaintop with Phoenix, ran into Giannis. He's been almost there and ran into injury before. I remember when he broke his finger, I believe, in a series, which I think they could have won. It might have been against my Warriors. I'm
I
not
think it was
sure,
wasn't his
but I
hamstring.
believe
I
he
think it was
broke
his
his finger.
hamstring against your Warriors. I think yeah. It was
May
his
have been his
hamstring.
hamstring.
It was terrible. I think they would have beat your Warriors, by the way. I hate to say that to you, but
Yeah, I think they had our number, but things
Mhm,
happen. And so I look at Chris Paul and I see not only his on-court accolades, but his off-court
mhm.
stuff. I don't think people give him enough credit for his NBA Players Association work that he's done as the president of the NBA PA. The stuff he's done behind the scenes in the locker rooms, the way he talks to guys, I know that it's not in fashion now, but he comes from that generation where you could talk to somebody tough in a locker room and be like, yo, this is not what we're doing. That's not the NBA we live in
No,
anymore. At some time it was. And so I think he'll really be appreciated maybe a few years from now rather than right now. Because they're like, oh, Chris Paul's gone. I'm like, no, like this was a big
right.
deal, man. And I also think he was probably one of the last true point guards out there. I don't think they even make point guards like him
Yeah,
anymore.
I would absolutely agree. And I know some players have gone on record as like his leadership style is not to their liking, but it got the job done. And and then like you said, in today's game, guys are, for lack of a better way to say it, a little more sensitive.
Softer,
Soft, yeah,
softer,
yeah, a little more
softer,
sensitive. Yeah,
softer.
I was trying to be a little politically
Hmm.
correct, but softer is a good one.
Nah,
you
they
know,
soft.
so and they can't take the criticism. So and but he knows what he's doing. He knows the game, and like I said, he's a phenomenal point guard. I just like I said, I wish he would have got an opportunity to go out the way he wanted to. I'm sure he wanted to be playing. Maybe even get a farewell tour. I think he's deserving of that. But
Yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah,
So but kudos to him, man. He had a phenomenal career, and for him to be at peace with it, that's another thing. Just I don't know if I could have
yeah.
been as graceful as him. I'm like, wow, nobody wants me. Wow, they trade me like this. The Clippers first, the Clippers, and then I go to the Raptors, and then they just wave me, and it's like, it messes with your ego a little bit. But for him, for him to be at peace is phenomenal.
Yeah, NBA TV or the NBA program played a highlight mix of his accolades, and you're just like, yo, you forget about young Chris Paul with the Charlotte Hornets. He was a
Yeah, yes, he
problem,
was
you know, dunking on kids, lobs, crossing people up, pushing the pace. He averaged damn near career is like 9.2
That's
assists per
insane.
game, which is insane. We're almost double-digit assists per game. So I don't think that people really look at the entire career he'd given you. They just look at the last few years or even the Lob City years where he almost took that team to a chip,
Right, right.
and even Blake Griffin admitted that his leadership style was
Yeah,
acerbic. And I'm like, so is leadership style is acidic or whatever. Like, who cares? Like, I know you and I are a little different. Like, as long as we're winning,
don't
I
care.
don't care. I really
Yeah.
don't care what kind of leadership style is in the locker room. As long as we're winning, that means it's working. I think today's generation is different, and so perhaps it leads to a different viewpoint
Yeah,
of him.
I would totally agree with that. You and I are different, and it's like as long as we're winning, I could care less. Okay, is that what you need me to do? Okay, that's fine. Whatever. It becomes a problem when you're not winning, and I get that. And sometimes certain situations they get to a point and they're not winning the games they need to win, but that's just you're running up against better teams, in my opinion. I think.
This
Yeah,
is the
and I think
NBA.
the Lob City Clippers were man. And, me being a Laker fan, and I can't say that I've always hated the Clippers, but I think I hated them when they moved into the Staples Center. When they had their own arena, I liked them separately, but it's just, but they moved in, and I'm like, man, they are better than my team, which was hard for me to say. And they should have won a championship.
Yeah.
They really should have. They had all the pieces, and he was a big part of that. So, yeah.
Well, this goes back to your original point, doesn't it? They
Hmm.
should have won a
Right.
championship. They don't hand out championships in
They really
participation.
don't.
It's you have to get there and you have to beat the best to be the best. There's no circumstance in which that's not
Yeah.
the
Right.
case. Or else the Utah Jazz would have beat the Bulls twice.
Man, that's absolute facts. And I wanted to make one more point about Chris Paul too.
Yeah.
Chris Paul got some bigs paid. Like nobody really knew.
Go ahead
Yes,
and
listen,
preach.
nobody really knew about David West in New Orleans, right? And Dave West, good player. Don't get me wrong. He got David West paid. That pick and roll and the way he was picking pop and the way he set him up and just was spoon feeding him, David West got his money. The way he got Jordan paid.
You just took the words right out of
Come
my
on,
mouth.
man. He got DeAndre Jordan paid because DeAndre Jordan was literally. I mean, he's not the greatest offensive threat. Don't get me wrong. Shout out to him, but he's not. But playing with Chris Paul got you some contracts, man, and countless other big men in the league. So I'm like, come
Yeah.
on now, you got to give that guy his respect.
I thought he dragged a subpar Phoenix team to the NBA
I would
championship.
agree. I would agree.
I feel like if you take Chris Paul off of that Phoenix team that year, I don't think they even make it out of the
I would
second round.
totally agree. I really would. I think that Phoenix team, as good as they were, I don't think they go anywhere without Chris Paul. So, you preach, brother. You're right on point with that.
Yeah. All right. Turning to our last effort of the day, you know, the enforcer era. We talked about this earlier with
This is your
Draymond Green,
favorite. It's your favorite topic right
but
here.
man, we saw some huge fights. I believe it was last week between a few different teams. Isaiah Stewart, Miles Bridges, Jalen Duran et al. Getting into it in ejections and escalations. Isaiah Stewart getting the brunt of that, which you and I called out, the brunt of that disqualification, and hitting him over the head with a 7-game suspension and a little under $1 million in suspension fees and money in missed revenue for missing those games. I don't know, Sean. I don't know if we're ever going to take fighting out of the game. I have some opinions here. I want to turn to you to hear yours first. What did you think about the fights and the suspensions that came afterwards in today's NBA? Because you and I are Malice in the
Yes,
Palace
right.
guys, so I want to hear what you
See,
have to
and
say.
I like the physicality. I like the because we're in the and this is what I like to call we're in the AAU NBA era. So AAU, all these guys know each other, they're friends, and after the game, and good sportsmanship, I get it, but they all know each other. They hang out in the summer, whatever, and but you don't have that that fierceness of not liking the opponent when you play against them, whether you like that or not. That's neither here nor there, but. Um, I liked it. I liked the physicality. I liked that Diabate got in his face. I liked that Jalen Duran mushed him. And I liked how the benches. I liked how they cleared. I look at how people got into it, and they're protecting their teammates. I I don't like the fact that Isaiah Stewart ran from the other end of the court. Like like I
No.
get it. He's looking after his teammates, but I'm like, come on, man, you gotta stop that. Like that's a bit much. Like when the melee first started, I guess he was being good, not coming off the bench. Like if he'd have came off the bench during that time, and when it was like really around that's fine. But you're running in like Miles Bridges had already backed up. They're kind of getting control of it, and here you come running in like it's WWE. You're running out of the back, sliding under the bottom rope, and like you getting ready to try to suplex this dude. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, come on, man. And I get it. He's looking after his teammates. I can appreciate that. Like I said, we grew up in the 80s where it was physical. We grew up 90s physical. Malice in the Palace. I understand it. Looking after your teammates, protecting one another. But come on, man. Like, come on. He's coming in off the top rope. So, it's insane. So that's my thing.
I was thinking about this because obviously everything changed after Malice in the
Right.
Palace. I don't even think people realize you can't buy beer in the fourth quarter anymore because of Malice in the
Yeah, that's
Palace.
yeah, that's true.
That's still a thing. As when I was at the Blazer game the other night, I couldn't get a beer in the fourth quarter. It's like, oh, that's
Yeah,
right. And you look at what happened. I don't think it's wrong for players to want to defend
not at
themselves.
all.
Now, I'm not an idiot. I know that there's $300 million contracts walking out there on the court. And if he pops his wrist or breaks his hand, that's going to severely impact your
Right.
season. And also, hockey players do it. Hockey players are allowed to circle the ice. The ref stands right there. They punch each other out till somebody hits the floor. I know this is going to sound barbaric and idiotic, but I feel if we had something similar for two guys to literally punch each other out till somebody hit the floor, I think there would be less cheap shots and less BS and less talk. Because a lot of guys out there talking. Like you, one of my favorite Sean Watkins isms is he ain't really like that. He's not. So many of these guys not really like that. When you really, okay, let us fight. I do think Isaiah Stewart happens
Oh
to be
yeah, he's
really
really
like
like
that.
that. Yeah, yes. We've seen it time and
So is
time again.
Bridges.
Yeah.
But I don't think everybody else is. So, do you think it's crazy to if they were to allow NBA players to fight a bit? Do you think that'd be nuts?
And this is why we get along. I was actually talking to another friend of mine about the same thing, and I would absolutely love the idea. And I know it sounds barbaric, but listen, this is how you do it. If you got two guys that scuffle, they get into it. Let's okay, all right, you want to fight? Okay, cool. Let's put a minute on the clock, or let's put 30 seconds on the clock. Have at it for 30 seconds. That's it. Once the 30 seconds are done, we break it up. Nobody else can jump in. That's it. I would love that, but
If you jump in, you
10
10
game
game
suspension, so you can't
suspension.
jump in. It's one on one. It's one on one. I tell you right now, Saif, if they did that, you would have and hear me when I say this, no scuffles, no fighting whatsoever. Because here's why. Here's why.
Why?
Because
Well, tell me why.
like you pointed out earlier, they're not really like that.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of guys that's really like that. So that's one. And two,
Yeah.
the embarrassment. These guys they don't want to play. Listen, they don't want to play hard in an all-star game to get embarrassed, or they don't want to be in a dunk contest to get embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? Because if you miss dunks or everybody's
Yeah.
watching. So can you imagine center court and you've got 18,000 fans and it's you and one guy one-on-one trying to square up and fight for 30 seconds or a minute? You don't want to get embarrassed, because if
Yeah.
if if somebody who's really like that catches you and you go to sleep, you never live that down.
You're a meme.
Am I right? Everybody's on your head for the next
No,
month, and then you become a meme for the next 6 months.
getting
It's
put to
being put to
sleep.
sleep. Yeah. Melatonin.
Because to your point, dog, the new NBA has taken away a roster position that used to exist, which we called
Right.
enforcer. Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, Xavier McDaniels. Those guys got a check because somebody knew if somebody said something crazy on the court, you were getting
Yeah.
clapped up.
Maurice Lucas, Rick Mahorn, Buck Williams, these guys, they were enforcers, man.
Meta World
Man,
Peace, even
they
most
put
recently.
hands on people because they knew, they're supposed to protect their stars, and they're supposed to let
Right.
and that's what it was about. And I absolutely love that part of the game, but they've taken it away. And I think mostly because of the malice in the palace. But they,
Yeah.
they don't want to see that type of stuff. But like I said, if they actually put that in there, I'm telling you, you would never have any scuffles or any fights. It would be no more than quick shove, a lot of gibberish, a lot of yip yapping, and then it's done. Because as soon as, like, if I'm the
Do you know
go
what
ahead.
do you know what would happen to NBA viewership if they
Oh,
allowed that? Do you
it's
know
going way
how
up.
people would watch more? Way
Way
up.
up. But here's the thing, maybe they
Way up.
don't, because it's not gonna happen. If I'm the ref and we put this in, as soon as somebody's pushing, okay, center circle, boom, you got a minute. Go at it. You could grab, push, you could slam, you could do it.
Not even a minute. You got the shot clock. You
You got
got
24
24
seconds.
seconds.
As soon as I started, hit the buzzer. You're in the center court. Everybody's over there and everybody's clapping. Let's get his ass. Whoop him. Yeah. You can do that. If you did that, No, they'd be like, "No, we straight. We good. All right, I let his jersey go. We good. Y'all, let's get back to the game." They're not gonna do that. They're not like that.
My God.
I'm
Oh
just
my
saying.
God.
Am I right?
No one's gonna do. You're right. You're
Nobody, because nobody wants to be
right.
embarrassed. It's only a handful. Like Isaiah Stewart knows he can fight. Miles Bridges, he's in there. I, out
Yeah.
of those two, after that, I don't know who else would want to do that.
There's maybe 5 guys we don't have time to think about, but maybe 5 or 6 guys in the whole league that actually can fight that we
Exactly.
know about.
So yeah.
Everybody else is
Oh
soft as
man.
tissue
Yeah,
paper.
that's just they pushing, talking, and then yeah. So I say do it. If it ever comes up for a vote, I'm voting. Yes, please.
If I ever get a vote, I'm voting
Yes,
for.
sir.
But for all jokes aside, you made a great point too. It allows your star to be
Mhm.
unprotected, and I
Right.
don't like that. For someone to hard foul your star and there's nobody on the court to be like, oh, you can't do that. And then it used to be when you hard fouled Michael Jordan, please believe Charles Oakley was coming in and he's checking in
Mhm.
the game. And the minute you're in the air, he's hitting you in the thorax with
Right.
his elbow.
Exactly. Exactly. You're getting, man, you're getting punched in your kidneys. You might you might be peeing blood. Like I mean, seriously, these dudes was crazy. Come across that lane, and they let you know, hey, you can't be
Um,
hitting my kid, can't be hitting
Hey,
my guy like that. You gonna get it. You come in this lane, you gonna get it. So,
listen, I was never a Detroit Pistons fan, but if you hit Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer was going to
oh
let
yeah,
you know about it. So was
yeah.
John Sally.
They were all gonna do that. They protected him. So yeah, it's I missed that part of the game. But like I said, if they bring that in, no fights at all. You'd probably go a whole 82 game season with no scuffles.
So surprised. No technical
Yeah,
fouls, no scuffles.
yeah.
Weird.
Like, and here's the thing, getting back to one of our earlier shows, I would love to see that with a Draymond Green and
Yeah.
see because like I said, Draymond Green, he presents himself as a tough guy and like he's an enforcer type.
And he
Yeah, and he
woofs. He
does.
woofs a
So
lot.
I would love
Yeah.
to see that. Like, okay, you're playing the Pistons, and maybe Isaiah Stewart he bops Steph Curry one time, and you get back at it, and okay, get in the center court with beef stew. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Draymond wants that smoke. Now, if Kenyon Martin was back in the league, get Kenyon Martin
My
would be
God.
with it.
And no one would be in the center court with Kenyon Martin.
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
No one's doing that.
That's why I miss.
No one's jumping in there with Grandma Mom, with Larry Johnson. No
See, and
one's
that's why I
jumping in
miss. Shout
there.
out to Matt Barnes. Shout out to Steven Jackson. I miss those type of players because they would be with it.
Yeah.
They don't care. So
100% with it. 100% with it. Guys, that's a wrap for us on another show. Please remember to like, subscribe, tell your friends, especially your enemies, people who don't like us. Tell people who don't like black people. Tell them. Tell them to watch the show.
that's so funny.
Tell them to watch the show. Share this with your friends. A lot of people are seeing our clips on Insta, but not really picking up. So, yeah, watch the whole show, man. I mean, we got lots of good stuff to say, and we have great guests. For Sean Watkins and for me, BetaMax84, we will see you next
Peace.
week. Peace.